Madam allocated significant resources to bolster our healthcare system. The rapid deployment of vaccination drives and strengthening of the healthcare system under her watch were crucial in mitigating the pandemic impact on both public health and the economy. Madam's efforts ensured that India not only tackled the health crisis effectively, but also set the stage for faster economic recovery. The resilience that Madam has portrayed is evident from this example. Under Madam's leadership, the Ministry of Finance has introduced a series of transformative reforms aimed at promoting financial inclusion, fostering innovation, and stimulating economic growth. Madam's emphasis on digitalization, support for startups, and measures to enhance the ease of doing business have significantly contributed to making India a more attractive destination for global investment. In Madam's illustrious career, our esteemed guest has demonstrated a profound understanding of the complex dynamics that drive our economy. Madam Finance Minister has championed policies that seek to balance growth with inclusivity, ensuring that the benefits of development reach every corner of our society. Under her stewardship, the Union budget has not only addressed the immediate challenges of the present, but also laid down a robust foundation for sustainable and equitable growth in the future. The Union Budget 24-25 stands as a testament to Madam's visionary approach. The budget is a blueprint of a more resilient, inclusive, and forward-looking India. One of the key highlights of the Budget 24-25 is a significant boost in capital expenditure, particularly in infrastructure. Recognizing that infrastructure development is critical to accelerating economic growth, the budget allocates substantial funds to sectors such as roads, railways, and urban development. These investments are not just about building infrastructure. They are about creating the backbone for industrialization, enhancing connectivity, and improving the quality of life for millions of Indians. By focusing on infrastructure, Madam is laying down the foundation for long-term economic growth, job creation, and regional development. Another area where the budget has made significant strides is in empowering women. Madam has always been a strong advocate for a socio-economic empowerment of women, and this budget reflects Madam's commitment to the cause. The budget allocates substantial funds for innovative initiatives that support women entrepreneurs, enhance access to credit for women-led businesses, and increase women's representation in key economic sectors. These measures are not just about promoting gender equality, they are about unlocking the future potential of half the population, thereby driving economic growth and social progress. Budget 24-25 further introduces progressive taxation reforms employed and simplifying the tax regime, improving compliance, and enhancing transparency. These reforms are designed to make the tax system more efficient, equitable, and business-friendly, benefiting both individuals and businesses. By streamlining the tax system and making it more transparent, Madam is not only boosting government revenues, but also creating a more conducive environment for economic growth and investment. As we reflect on those achievements, it is important to acknowledge the critical role that the legal fraternity plays in the interpretation and implementation of policies and laws that emanate from the Ministry of Finance. The Revenue Bar Association, with its rich tradition of legal excellence, stands ready to support the government's efforts in crafting policies that are not only economically sound, but also legally robust. The synergies between the legal and financial sectors are essential in ensuring that the government's economic vision is realized in the manner that upholds the principles of justice and equity. With this, we move to the theme of the event, the Finance Minister's Insight, Path Forward. I am certain that all of you are eager to hear Madam Finance Minister's vision on the country as we reflect on the Union Budget 24-25. The government's economic vision is what has brought us here, eager to learn more. In conclusion, it is with great respect and admiration that I introduce to you all a leader whose contributions under the guidance of the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi have been pivotal in shaping the great nation. Madam's leadership, vision, and dedication have not only steered India through challenges, but also have laid down a robust foundation for a bright and prosperous future. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in giving a warm welcome To the respectful Madam Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman, the Honorable Union Minister of Finance and Corporate Affairs, Government of India.
Thank you, sir. I now request Advocate Ms. Samyukta Bhanushekar to present a shawl and felicitate the Honorable Finance Minister. Advocate Ms. Madhushruti Neelakantan will now present a bouquet. Thank you. I now request the Honorable Union Minister for Finance and Corporate Affairs, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman, to address the gathering.
Namaskaram and good afternoon. I begin by thanking the President, Sri Sridhar of the Revenue Bar Association of Chennai, Vice President Mr. D. Anand, Chairman of this organizing committee, Sri Bhanu Shekhar, and also the Secretary of the Revenue Bar Association, T. Vasudevan, for inviting me and also asking me to talk about what are my insights and also looking forward to taking India further towards Viksit Bharat. I first appreciate this Revenue Bar Association. You've had a very checkered beginning. By the very recall of the names who are the founding members of this place, of this institution, you have emphasized as to what is the kind of beginning and leadership that you have been associated with. The very two names, besides the others, which invoke great respect, not only just in Tamil Nadu but all over, is of Justice Retired M.M. Ismail, late Justice Retired M.M. Ismail, and also Sri Parasaran. These are not, how can I say, these are not small names, these are of course such inspirational big names. When they think and form an association or form a group, it is with the larger interest of the country and for the well-being of the country. And that is why when you hold your third Saturday circles, study circles, I'm sure not only your members get informed, but the nuances of law, particularly related to revenue matters, are very well dispersed in terms of knowledge, and that itself is something which is true knowledge sharing. Not only are the professionals better informed, but sometimes I've heard even learned judges say that some arguments placed by some learned counsels are so revealing. So it is not just a contribution to its own membership, but also to look at the way in which details in law are the arms and tools with which cases are understood and decided upon. And therefore the role that you have is a very significant role, and I don't need to recall to you all about the various cases that you've taken up, which have had direct impact in the Ministry of Finance, whether it is in the formation of the appellate tribunals or also the recent tribunal, the GST related tribunal and its formation. So the role that you have, and you've taken it up very seriously, is very significant, and the points that further that I would stretch to make would also have a bearing on, I would think, your future activities. But what first I would like to highlight is you're the Revenue Bar Association on specific issues related to taxation, on specific issues related to taxpayers of India, and you being the bridge between the government and the taxpayer in a way. I'd like to present before you as to what exactly is the Prime Minister's vision in understanding how revenue generation has to happen and how, with the revenue earned, many things which are necessary for India to build itself into a better country, a well-developed country, happens. But in the process, the first priority has been guided to me by my Prime Minister is make it easy for people to comply. Make it simple for people to comply, and I will state this fact again. Revenue is the last consideration with which every budget set of meetings happen. You might think I'm not saying the truth, but this is the hard truth I'd like to put before you. Yes, we need to raise revenue. And during the budget consultations that I've had, several of them happen with the department, several of them happen with the Prime Minister's office and Prime Minister himself. Revenue raising comes later. Simplifying and easing compliance on the taxpayer comes first. I repeat that. And if that is the approach Honorable Prime Minister has taken, and in my tenure, I can actually even speak about the tenure of my predecessors between 2014 and 19. But we did see how much of effort at the ground level happened in order to bring a one nation, one taxation GST during 2014 and 19. And after 19, even with the teething problems, how the entire process is being carried forward should stand as a testament to what Prime Minister Modi clearly puts before the country, that it is respectful of the federal system, center state, that we move forward on taxation matters. I will repeat this. The federal structure has to be respected and taken together if you want to have a taxation system where revenue generation happens without pain on the taxpayers, but revenue generation happens in order that both the center and the states can work together, both in developmental activities and also in widening the tax base. This is not just theory, and this is not an ideal. It is an ideal to which every day improvements will have to happen, and that's exactly the spirit with which we work in order that GST becomes a lot more successful. And this is, I'm putting the GST up front only because I'm underlining the fact, despite the rhetoric which many of the opposition leaders would want to say, oh, there is a lot of bitterness in the relationship, there's a lot of friction in the relationship. I will completely deny that. And I'll certainly deny it with commitment, because I see what happens in the GST Council, inside the council when the meetings happen. People belonging to different parties as finance ministers, when they come into the GST Council, speak about how we'll have to work to ensure that there is greater simplification, greater rationalization, and of course, revenue generation. So for those of us who want to believe that discordant notes guide finance ministers' meetings, I would like to say that's the place where least of politics works. Every finance minister wants good revenue generation. Every finance minister wants to have widened tax base. But every finance minister is also conscious that when he goes back to his own constituency, he should be able to answer people that we are not, extracting revenue which is not justifiable. So, the spirit of revenue generation, both of the center and of the state, is more to see how evasion can be avoided or targeted, how evasion can be addressed, how compliance can be made a temptation by simplifying it so that people think it's better to comply, it's easy to comply rather than evade. These are the thoughts which govern or guide ministers when they sit in the GST Council. They also want to be sure that taxation, where it can be brought down, we will bring it down. And that's the spirit with which I think ideally we should be working. And therefore, Revenue Bar Association has an immense responsibility. In fact, I will start with my expectation being put before you. You told me that you're doing something unusual. You're not going to give me memorandum, but you're here to probably listen to the address and see what best you can contribute towards making, taxation simple and this announcement made in the budget. I'll straight come to that. The first thing I would think, not based on what I've announced in the budget, the first thing I would think is your Saturday study circle matter should be widely available in the digital platforms. You should be available in the social media to explain nuances in taxation. Because today social media has become a big, platform, a marketplace, where ideas are thrown in, ideas are taken, ideas are picked up for quarrel, ideas are picked up for settlement as well, solutions as well. So your Saturday study circle, whatever issues you're talking among yourselves, talking about the nuances of taxes, about the various interpretations which are happening, and about the ways in which a particular tax can be viewed or anything else, should be widely available. Today you find in the social media, if you find 10 informed discussions, there are 100 uninformed discussions. Who's going to inform them? I don't want to negate them. Because of want of information, they seem to be spreading information which may not be found in facts or in law. Now, who's going to bring in, just as, let me divert for a minute, just as financial influencers in social media play a big role guiding people, put your money here, put your money there. Some of them are certified, some of them are not. Those who are not also have equal space. There are measures taken by regulators saying, no, if you're not a certified financial advisor, you can't advise on specifics. You may comment in general. Nobody stops. No freedom of expression is violated. Like that, if there are 10 people giving informed content, for those 100 who are coming up with uninformed content, shouldn't you be sharing knowledge? So I would invite your presence in the social media. Just as you are understanding budget and interpreting it and sharing your thoughts among your members, share your thoughts among the larger society who probably need your information. In the GST, because I started talking about it, because there is a reduced tax incidence, I'm sure you're familiar with the number. The revenue neutral rate was 15.3% at the time of GST launching, 2017. Since I'm talking to the Revenue Bar Association, I'm not going to define what is the revenue neutral rate. You all know it. But today, we've not kept it there only. Revenue neutral 15.3, so let it be there. No, we've not left it there. It's actually at 12.2% as of 2023. Meaning, we could be earning more. But no, we've brought down the rates. Again, right at the beginning, I'll explain as to why I'm elaborating so much on this. My pet peeve is there's just a lot of narrative. Oh, GST has come and burdened our lives. Because of GST, every item, burden in, and government is collecting tax from me from oil, soap, comb, pencil, notebooks, everything. It's such an ironical situation. I take this opportunity to, when I'm speaking to you all, Revenue Bar Association, to explain this little peeve that I have. So everybody thinks, oh, my notebook is being, taxed. Government is raising revenue out of my oil and soap daily necessities. See, when you move toward a transparent system, everything appears as though, oh my God, it's fallen on me this morning. No. And it is because of the transparency that the bill that you get from your shop tells you what is the component of CGST and what is the component of SGST, and therefore you're paying the tax on that item that you're buying. Tax has existed prior to GST. Probably they didn't mention it in the bill that this is the duty, VAT that you're paying. States collected it. Some states collected more, some collected less on the same item. But at that time, probably nobody felt the pinch because it was not before us. Now it's all before us. Should it be before us? Yes, because you need to know. We are in an age of information. Everybody wants to know how much is what, where, who takes it. So we're putting it out. But today it is now turned around to say, oh my God, look, for my little notebook that you're taking 9% here, central government takes, and so it's a double-edged sword. Information giving is required for transparency. But information giving has now become a common man's tool to say, government earns money out of everything that they do. The same argument is posed when every month we put out how much has been collected under GST the previous month. On 1st October, we put out how much was collected in September. The allegation was, oh my God, the government is celebrating GST collections. You're hurting common man, collecting money from his daily use items, and you're putting it out every month as though you're celebrating. Now, in the interest of transparency, we thought we're putting it out by state, by collection, CGST, SGST, IGST. No, you're celebrating it. So just that 1 month, 2 months ago, we said we won't put it out. It'll be available on the website. Those who want to take it, please go take it. I'm not stopping revealing the information. But by putting it out, if it is a celebration, no, sorry, we're not celebrating. Take it from there. Before taking it from the website, you should have seen the noise which came from every quarter. Government is denying information, it is shutting information, it doesn't want to reveal it because GST income has fallen. I mean, my God, excuse me, what do you all want? You want me to put it out or you don't want me to put it out? So now there is a piece bought, I would think, that it is in the website, go take it if you want. You celebrate it or you don't, but I'm not closing information sharing. I want that information to be available, take it. But in a country where the angst is a few people are paying tax, you're burdening them, you're not taking tax from others, no, with the attempt both by center and state is to widen the tax base. The figures show, and I would want to say here, today the total number of taxpayers, the GST I'm talking about, has grown to 1.47 crores. For a country of 140 crore people, may not be a big number. But much better than before, today there is more people onboarding onto GST. I want to say that, and it is a 3 to 4%, fourfold increase since the time it was launched. And a survey conducted by some people, eminent group consultancy agency, shows that 84% of people who are participating in GST have expressed positivity about the GST. There are items on which we can greater simplify, greater improve, but there is a general satisfaction that GST has brought in a lot more regulation and a lot more ease in doing business. Nearly 60%, and this is where I want to underline, Tax Bar Association should know it, Revenue Bar Association should speak about it. Nearly 60% of all consumer items attract a GST rate of 5% or less. 5% or less. Randomly, if you pick up from this 60% of consumer items, they can always be 1 or 2 or 3 items. Even if you pick a group of 5, at least 3 items. Where pre-GST, the rate was anywhere near 18 to 20%. Today, they are all in 5%. That's what GST has brought in. Simplification and reduction in the rate. And because there is a 28%, the perception is, oh my God, 28% you tax. I'll tell you the number of items which are in the 28% bracket. Less than 3% of consumption items are in the 28% bracket. So if the larger principle of reduced rate for the common man has to be achieved, GST has achieved it and it is further achieving it for rate rationalization. You know the GST Council has formed a group of ministers who are looking at rate reduction and rationalization in the next meeting in September, 9th of September, and the 3 or 4 days from today. The GST Council will have a beginning made in understanding what the GOM has done till now, where we are on it now, and from then on take the discussion on what is it that we have to do to reduce the rates or rationalize the rates. So this meeting itself will not finalize it. I don't want false expectations. This meeting is the first time when they're going to look at what the group of ministers have said. They will be presenting the details. The officers would give a current status report, post which discussions will start happening. Now, if I go into the non-GST matters, direct taxes, for instance, a lot of technology has made ease of compliance, and I'm sure you will agree with it. Because technology was brought in and ease of compliance came, a few items which can make a big difference to the taxpayer is where you have pre-filled income tax forms with third-party information which are verified and then filled into the forms. You are able to give the assessee a pre-filled income tax return which has made reporting income tax easier. I would like to underline the fact that refunds are getting distributed and done fairly in a reasonable time. I'd like to improve on it even further. Average processing time of returns was reduced from 93 days. That was the number in 2013-14. 93 days for processing returns. Today it has come down to 10 days only. An income tax base, meaning income tax payer tax base, has risen from 3.91 crores, that was in 2014, 3.91 crores to 7.97 crores in 23-24. So there is also greater sense of awareness among people today that they would rather comply and be part of those who file their returns, and rather than, being outside of it, because it has built-in advantages. Now, 24-25 budget, much was said about that budget, the announcements that I've made. I'd like to underline the fact that we are focusing on the agenda of simplifying tax, improving taxpayer services, provide tax certainty, and reduce litigation. These are the guiding principles with which we want to have the tax administration be brought in. We removed totally the angel tax which was brought in 2012. We tried doing some improvements on it, but no, it has been removed now in total. So that I'm sure helps a lot of the startup industry people. Much before I go to this point of, we've announced in the budget that we will be working within the next 6 months, since July, 6 months from July, to simplify the direct tax code. Much before I come to that, I'd like to say again on this information sharing not happening, articulation not happening completely, not from your side, from our side. Finance Ministry probably needs to do a lot more talking on actually what has happened in the last 10 years. And I'm happy to state this in a broad and general fashion. Not one rate was increased during these 5 years, last 5 years. Not one rate. Let there be any number of dissenters who will say, oh no, on STT you increased something. And the capital gains on some, yes, STT in particular because of certain kind of voices which came and also concerns expressed by regulators, we had to tweak the numbers. And also there were so many different, STT rates. So bring in some kind of a reasonableness into it that might have resulted in one going up and another coming down. Yes, I'm conscious of that. Similarly for capital gains, there was probably one asset class in which the rate probably went up a bit. And that I had explained then, I'm explaining it even now. None of this was with the revenue consideration. They were very clearly for rationalizing them. We didn't want money out of it. We wanted the treatment to be simpler and similar. There was no intent to raise revenue. And my God, the concerns which started coming, I thought I have increased the tax, income tax. Have I increased it? Or some magician came in between and increased it? No. Rate rationalization. And in fact, if anything has happened in the last 5 years, we brought in a new tax regime with simpler, lesser rate. And in that, within a matter of 12 months, just 1 year, we've increased the standard deduction. We've regrouped the income bands so that more of the higher income would go for a lesser rate. All that this has been done. We've not increased anybody's income tax. But sometimes it doesn't get across till such a time that individual sits to file his own return. So, oh yeah, I'm benefiting this much. 14,500, 17,800 for some people. Till then, the noise is you've increased it. When they file it, I'd like to go knock at their doors and say, sorry, are you okay? That kind of a discord in understanding the intent of this government. And I'm laboring on this point, pardon me, because the Prime Minister's intent, and that should have been so obvious, and I will say this again, 2020, when COVID happened, and we had to spend huge amounts so that India gets its own vaccine, and India had to spend a lot more to make sure that the economy has, infusion of some incentives every here and there. Even then, the one-line instruction from Prime Minister was, you shall not increase any rate. There was immense speculation everywhere. Oh, there's going to be a COVID cess. Oh, there's going to be a tax, COVID tax. Nothing happened. At a time when people were speculating, saying there could be an increase in tax, we did not. Why will we do it now? And therefore, the Tax and Revenue Bar Association, while talking about the proposals which get cleared through the budget, I actually wish you highlight what has come out of these proposals. And finally, a few words on litigation management. I'm grateful that you mentioned that Vivad Se Vishwas scheme was brought in 2020. Now again, we've come up with a Vivad Se Vishwas. And first of all, as a major trust building step, monetary limits for filing appeals have all been raised so that in the direct taxes and also for excise and service tax, at the tax tribunal level, where it was 50 lakhs, now it's gone up to 60 lakhs. High Court, where it was 1 crore, it has gone up to 2 crores. And for Supreme Court, where it was 2 crores, it's gone up to 5 crores. this will reduce litigation and promote ease of doing business. And the Vivad Se Vishwas, of course, is also something on which there is a lot of emphasis, and we wish to highlight and speedily implement it. The recent budget, of course, we had mentioned very clearly that we shall go to the direct tax simplification. Within 6 months we will come. I want to make it clear that this is to make the act concise. The effort that is going on now for 6 months from July is to make the act concise, lucid, and easy to read and understand, of course. And it will reduce disputes and litigation is our expectation if we simplify it. And we also want to provide tax certainty. But I understand that it requires the inputs from various different sources. So I like to urge the members of the Revenue Bar Association to give detailed suggestions with specific provisions which need to be changed to make the Income Tax Act concise, simple, and one which reduces prolonged litigation. So, on this platform, before you, I urge your members to please give us detailed suggestions. Now, on the indirect taxes, we are again trying to reduce and streamline litigation. There also, in the GST Council's 53rd meeting, the GST Council recommended a monetary limit of 20 lakh for the GST Appellate Tribunal, 1 crore for the High Court, and 2 crore for the Supreme Court. This is very much in consistence with what we brought in the direct tax as well. As a consequence of this indirect tax suggestion which has come from the GST Council, and because of the upward revision in the monetary limits which was put through this finance bill and it got passed, a total of 7,755 appeals are likely to be withdrawn from various judicial fora. 7,755 appeals will be now withdrawn. In that, of course, 6,710 appeals are of direct taxation and 1,045 pertain to the indirect taxation. So I think that will greatly reduce the burden on the tax assessees, reduce the time you have to spend on small litigations. I think now the focus can go towards the high net worth disputes, so that we have more people attending to it, big ticket disputes can be handled. On the G-Stat, which is now formed, Justice retired Sanjay Kumar Mishra has been appointed as the first president of the GST Appellate Tribunal in Delhi. It marks a very big beginning, and the operationalization of GST Appellate Tribunal will make very big difference to the disputes. In addition to the principal bench, 31 state benches located in all parts of the country are happening. The process of appointment of judicial members and technical members are progressing rapidly. Establishment of the G-Stat would therefore enhance the effectiveness of GST system itself, is my belief. And finally, I would think use of AI, artificial intelligence, and use of technology has actually brought in a lot of simplification and ease of doing business as regards income tax and as regards GST. I would request the Revenue Bar Association to familiarize your members in handling technology-driven and AI-driven applications, so that you understand from where the Revenue Department or the Central Board of Direct Taxation or CBIC is working, because we find using artificial intelligence, we were able to crack a lot of complicated cases. I've explained this before. You touch one, use AI, use machine learning, it takes you to every bit of what is connected. It just takes you everywhere. So the entire web gets touched if you touch one of them. And therefore there is no time lost. Earlier you found one, you'll go meet them, you get some information from them, then go searching for the next person, by which time that next person disappears from the world. None of that. Today the entire web is before you, and that is why you find Enforcement Directorate or the CBI or the Serious Fraud Investigation Office, SFIO, all of them cracking at a time on various cases without worry. So it looks for people from outside, oh my God, they're cracking, they're everywhere. Is this a fishing expedition? No. Artificial intelligence and machine learning have given us the lead advantage that if there is one wrongdoing in one place, you're able to touch upon so many simultaneously, and therefore action happens quickly. Some other time, I'll probably be able to speak about the restitution that has happened. The money which has gone to the banks because of this kind of efficient use of technology. And therefore, I would think the way forward is for the Revenue Bar Association members to be familiar with technology, familiar with use of technology, and be able to advise your clients as to how things work, how simplification has helped in compliance, and evasion cannot last for too long. It will be detected. And therefore I would suggest to all of you to contribute towards greater simplification of the tax network and framework that we have, and also the code. As much as you would do that, equally your members also should get adept at using technology so that you benefit with efficiency and the system gets cleaned up, so that all of us know that India is growing in a more transparent fashion, all of us can trust one another, and the system gains eventually. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam. That was indeed a very insightful and erudite speech. As a token of gratitude from the Revenue Bar Association, Advocate Ms. We now move on to the question and answer session. We had requested the participants to send in their questions at the time of registration. We had an overwhelming response to our request. I am sure the participants would appreciate that it would not be possible to address all the questions or have a one-on-one query session today given the paucity of time. Hence, the organizing committee has selected a few questions sent in by the participants, which will now be read out by our moderator for this session, Advocate Jai Kumar, who is the founder and country head of Swami Associates. Over to you, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today, we have all assembled in a supercharged environment where we have with us the most charismatic, righteous, more importantly, righteous and truly empowered women finance minister any country would have ever had. The one and only Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman, the Honorable Union Minister for Finance and Corporate Affairs, and deservingly, more deservingly, the most celebrated and beloved daughter of Bharat Mata. It's indeed a privilege and a great honor for me to anchor this session. Considering the paucity of time, as my colleague said, we had invited questions through invitation and it has really flooded. And it's really flooded. And
we had to really burn our midnight oil to distill the essence, which is going to be before you. As a finance minister is very fond of the greatest Tamil poet, Thiruvalluvar, and his immortal couplets. Allow me to start the session with one. தூங்காமை கல்வி துணிவுடைமை இம்மூன்றும் நீங்கா நிலனான்பவர்க்கு பொருட்பால் இறைமாட்சி. Which means there are three vital attributes for those who rule the country: diligence, knowledge, and flavor and will. Madam, the first question starts here. We know that about two parts of it, knowledge and valor, we are all clear about it. The first question is about the tireless diligence what you exhibit every day in and day out. Even if I have to sigma the entire energy burnout of this gathering, in a day, it may really fall short of the humongous energy you may have to expend in a day. From the moment you wake up till the moment you sleep, I don't know whether sleep is in your lexicon today, day in and day out, day after day, how do you derive so much of energy to cope up? Because it's very important for the practitioners. Very, very important for us.
But is this the question you want me to answer? This is no.
This is the secret of your energy.
But before that, திருவள்ளுவரை பத்தி நீங்க பேச ஆரம்பிச்சீங்க, அதனால அது ஒரு விஷயத்தை சொல்ல விரும்புறேன். பாரத பிரதமர் சிங்கப்பூர்ல இருக்கார். சிங்கப்பூர்ல பலவிதமான MOUs, சைனிங் ஆஃப் அக்ரிமெண்ட்ஸ் எல்லாம் நடந்துட்டு இருக்கு. ஆனா சிங்கப்பூர்ல திருவள்ளுவர் கலாச்சார மையம் ஒன்று ஆரம்பிக்கிறதா அனௌன்ஸ்மெண்ட் கொடுத்தாங்க. ஸோ ஐ எம் வெரி ஹாப்பி டு ஷேர் தட் நியூஸ். நான் சென்னையில் இருக்கும்போது என் காதில் விழுந்தது, PM அங்கே அந்த அனௌன்ஸ்மெண்ட் பண்ணியிருக்கிறாருன்னு. தமிழ்நாட்டுக்கும் தமிழ் மக்களுக்கும் தமிழ் மொழிக்கும் பாரத பிரதமர் எப்பொழுதும் திருப்பி 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 பேசிட்டு இருக்கிறதுனால எனக்கு இந்த சந்தோஷமான செய்தியை உங்களோட முதல்ல பகிர்ந்துக்கிறேன். தட்ஸ் மை ஆன்சர் ஃபார் தி ஃபர்ஸ்ட் க்வெஸ்சன்.
ஓகே, thank you, ma'am. Okay, since you started with GST, we'll also start with the GST questions first. Independent India had many revolutions. Three revolutions are very important. We had agreed with agriculture, white with dairy development, and the third, if I may say so, the saffron, the one on indirect taxation. That is the GST. Bringing in all the stakeholders under one roof is an absolute miracle, and that is the freedom we got, the second freedom India got in midnight. Now, madam, that we have achieved the tagline of GST, one nation and one tax, and we are now going to be 8 years. We would like to know that whether it is possible to achieve the third part of the tagline, one tax rate, someday, so that a host of litigations on classification disputes would go away. Is it a possibility?
First of all, green revolution, white revolution, milk revolution, dairy revolution. மூணாவது ரெவல்யூஷன் டிஜிட்டல் ரெவல்யூஷன். நம்ம நாட்டில் அந்த டிஜிட்டல் ரெவல்யூஷன் வித் கவர்மெண்ட் மணி, அதாவது பப்ளிக் இன்ஃப்ராஸ்ட்ரக்சர் கிரியேட் பண்ணி அதன் மூலமாக ஒரு டிஜிட்டல் ரெவல்யூஷன் நடந்திருக்கு. அந்த டிஜிட்டல் ரெவல்யூஷன் நடந்ததுனால ஜிஎஸ்டி போன்ற டாக்ஸ் ஆல் ரன்னிங் ஆன் டிஜிட்டல். நீங்க டோல்கேட்ல போனா கூட ரேபிட் RFID போடுறாங்க. அது எப்படி முடியுது? அதெல்லாம் டிஜிட்டல் அச்சீவ்மெண்ட்ஸ்னால தான். இன்னைக்கு நீங்க இங்க உட்கார்ந்துட்டு உங்க குழந்தை எங்கேயோ சிகாகோல படிக்கிறாங்க, சான் பிரான்சிஸ்கோல பிசினஸ் நடத்துறாரு, அவருக்கு நீங்க இங்க இருந்து பணம் அனுப்பணும்னா உட்கார்ந்த இடத்துல உங்க போன்ல இருந்து நீங்க உங்க அக்கௌண்ட்ல இருந்து பணத்தை அனுப்புறீங்க. எப்படி முடியுது? நம்ம நாட்டுல அச்சீவ் ஆன அந்த டிஜிட்டல் ரெவல்யூஷன் உலகமே இன்னைக்கு ஆச்சரியப்படுறாங்க. நீங்க இத நல்லா பண்ணிருக்கீங்க, இந்த ஐடியா ஆஃப் டிஜிட்டல் நல்லா பண்ணிருக்கீங்க. ஆனா அவங்க ஆச்சரியப்படுறதுக்கான காரணம் என்ன? 140 கோடி மக்கள் இருக்கிற இந்த நாட்டுல ஒரு பாமர கிராம விவசாயியோ இல்ல ஒரு பெண்ணோ அதை உபயோகிக்கிற அளவுக்கு அதை சிம்பிளிஃபை பண்ணிருக்கிறோம். அந்தந்த மொழியில அது வருது, அந்தந்த போன்ல வருது. எல்லாரும் ஆப்பிள் போன் வச்சிருப்பாங்கன்னு இல்ல, சிம்பிள் போன்ல கூட வருது. அதை தவிர அதன் மூலமாக கோவிட்க்கு உங்களுக்கு இன்ஜெக்ஷன் கொடுத்த விஷயம் அதுல இருக்கு. நீங்க ஒரு இன்ஜெக்ஷன் எடுத்தீங்களா, 2 இன்ஜெக்ஷன் எடுத்தீங்களா, என்ன கோவின் எடுத்தீங்களா, இன்னும் ஒண்ணு எடுத்தீங்களா, எல்லாம் அதுல வந்துருது. அதே மாதிரி இன்னைக்கு அக்கௌண்டே இல்லாத 53 கோடி மக்களுக்கு அக்கௌண்ட் கொடுத்த பிறகு அவங்க அக்கௌண்ட்ல மாசம் மத்திய அரசுல இருந்து இவ்வளவு பணம் வருதுன்ற செய்தி அவனுக்கு ஒரு மெசேஜ கிடைச்சிடும். இதெல்லாம் அந்த டிஜிட்டல் ரெவல்யூஷன் மூலமாக நம்ம செய்த ஒரு பெரிய அச்சீவ்மெண்ட். அதான் கவர்மெண்ட் தான் பண்ணித்தரல, கவர்மெண்ட் செய்யற ஒவ்வொரு முயற்சிக்கும் மக்களும் அதுடன் ஒத்துழைச்சு சேர்ந்தாதான் அதுக்கு சக்சஸ் வருது. நம்ம நாட்டு மக்களை பற்றி நம்மளே இழிவா பேசிட்டு இருக்கிற இன்னைக்கு கூட நம்ம நாட்டு மக்கள் அதை பத்தி கண்டுக்காம காட்டுறாங்க. அதை பாருங்க, எங்க கிட்ட திறமை இருக்கு, நீங்க கொடுத்தீங்கன்னா அதை விட 3 மடங்கு செஞ்சு காட்டுறோம். டிஜிட்டல் எக்கானமியோட சக்சஸ் தாங்க இன்னைக்கு மார்க்கெட்ஸ் ஓபன் பண்ண, ரா மெட்டீரியல் வழிபடுக்குது. உங்களுக்கு இருந்த இடத்துல இருந்து எங்க பணம் அனுப்பணுமோ அனுப்ப முடியுது. அதுவும் அந்நிய செலாவணியில் அனுப்பணுமா அனுப்ப முடியுது. இல்லைன்னா நீங்க ஒவ்வொரு முறையும் பேங்க்ல போய் உங்களுக்கு அக்கௌண்ட்ல பணம் இருக்குன்னு நிரூபிச்சு அதுக்கப்புறம் அந்த பணத்தை டிரா பண்ணிக்கிட்டு அதுக்கு எக்ஸ்சேஞ்ச் ரேட் என்னன்னு கேட்டு அதன் மூலமா டாலர் வர வச்சு அந்த டாலரை உங்க பிள்ளைங்களுக்கு கொடுத்து அனுப்புறதுக்குள்ள உயிரே போயிடும். நான்லாம் படிச்ச காலத்துல அப்படிதான் டிரான்ஸ்பர் பண்ணிக்கிட்டேன். கொஞ்சமாவது பணம் கவர்மெண்ட் கொடுக்கும். அப்பெல்லாம் கணக்கா கொடுப்பாங்க, $500 மேல ஒரு பைசா கிடைக்காது. எங்க சாப்பிடு இல்ல உழு அதை பத்தி இல்ல. ஆனா இன்னைக்கு நம்ம எப்படி ஆயிட்டோம்னா, நீ கொடுக்குற $1000 எந்த விதத்துக்கு போகும் எங்களுக்கு, இதான் கவர்மெண்ட் எங்களுக்கு பண்ணது, நாங்க வரி கட்டுறோம், எனக்கு நீ $1000 தான் கொடுப்பியா டாலர் அப்படின்றது கேட்கிற அளவுக்கு இருக்கும். நம்ம தப்பு இல்லை. நான் எதுக்கு சொல்ல வரேன்னா, வளர்ச்சி அப்படி நடந்துட்டு இருக்கிறதுக்கு காரணம் டிஜிட்டலி நம்ம எத்தனையோ பண்ணிருக்கோம். அந்த டிஜிட்டல் அச்சீவ்மெண்ட்ஸ் மூலமா இன்னைக்கு நம்ம எதிர்பார்க்காத இடத்துல சக்சஸ் வருது. ஏழைகளுக்கு மார்க்கெட்னா அவங்க கிராமத்தை விட்டு ஒரு 100 கிலோமீட்டர் போறதுக்கே கஷ்டமா இருக்கும். ஏன்னா ரோடு இருக்காது, பஸ் இருக்காது, பஸ் வந்தா பஸ் சமயத்துக்கு வராது. ஆனா இன்னைக்கு அந்த டிஜிட்டல் மூலமா வர அந்த ரெவல்யூஷனரி அச்சீவ்மெண்ட்ஸ் தான் நம்ம நாட்டை எல்லாரும் பார்த்து திகைக்க வைக்கணும். அதை எடுத்து சொல்லணும். அதன் மூலமா வர அட்வான்டேஜ் நான் சொன்னேன் என்னோட ஓப்பனிங் ரிமார்க்ஸ். இன்கம் டாக்ஸோ இன்டைரக்ட் டாக்ஸையும் இன்னைக்கு அந்த டிஜிட்டல் மூலமா தான் நம்ம எல்லாமே அச்சீவ் பண்ண முடியுது. அடுத்த கேள்விக்கு பதில் நாளைக்கே நம்ம கொடுக்க முடியும். Did it address your question? What was the question you asked?
The question was that one nation, one tax. Can it lead to a one tax?
Right. See, அதுல இன்னும் சர்ச்சை ஜிஎஸ்டி கவுன்சில் நடந்துட்டு தான் இருக்கு. அதுல முக்கியமா நம்ம யோசிக்க வேண்டியது, இது சிம்பிளிபிகேஷன் எதுக்கு நம்மளுக்கு? ஒரே ஒரு ரேட் இருந்துச்சுன்னா எல்லாரும் அவ்வளவுதான் அப்படின்னு சிம்பிளா யோசிச்சுட்டு போவோம் அப்படின்னு. வெரி குட். நம்ம நாட்டின் வளர்ச்சியை நம்ம எடுத்து பேச ஆரம்பிச்சோம்னா இது உடனே நாளைக்கே பாசிபிளா இல்லையா அப்படின்னு கூட நம்மளா யோசிக்கலாம். நான் பாசிபிள்னு சொல்லல, நான் நாட் பாசிபிள்னு சொல்ல. எனக்கு இத்தாப்புல ஒரு 20 கேமரா இருக்கு. இப்பவே போய் ரிப்போர்ட் பண்ணுவாங்க, பைனான்ஸ் மினிஸ்டர் சொல்லிட்டாங்க ஒரு ரேட் பாசிபிள் இல்ல அப்படின்னு. இல்லைங்க, நான் அப்படியே சொல்றேன், பாசிபிளா நான் அப்படியே சொல்றேன். பட் விஷயத்தை உங்க முன்னாடி வைக்கிறேன். ஜிஎஸ்டி இன்ட்ரோடியூஸ் பண்ண போதே சொன்னாங்க எல்லாரும் ஒரு ரேட் இருந்தா நல்லா இருந்திருக்குமே. அதுக்கு அருண் ஜேட்லி அப்ப கொடுத்த பதில் என்னன்னா, எங்க ஒரு ஹவாய் செப்பலுக்கும் நான் 18% இல்ல 12%, அந்த ஒரு ரேட்டு தான் இருக்குன்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க, 12% தான் இருக்கு. எல்லா ஐட்டமுக்கும் 12 தான். ஹவாய் செப்பலுக்கும் 12%, பென்ஸ் கார் வாங்குறவங்களுக்கும் 12% போட்டா நல்லதா? இந்த நாட்டுல ஒத்துக்க முடியுமா? எல்லாருக்கும் ஏற்புடையதா இருக்குமா அப்படின்னு அவர் கேட்டார். அப்போ அந்த கேள்வி இப்ப கிட்டத்தட்ட 7-8 வருஷம் ஆக போகுது. இப்ப அந்த கேள்விக்கு பதில் சொல்ல முடியுமா? நம்ம இப்ப பதில் சொல்ல முடியும்னா எனக்கு நீங்க உங்க சஜஷன் அனுப்புங்க, ஜிஎஸ்டி கவுன்சில் போயிருங்க இப்பவே. சோ கொஞ்சம் எல்லா விஷயத்திலையும் யோசிக்கணும், நம்ம நாட்டுக்காக யோசிக்கணும். இந்த கேள்வி கேட்கறது நல்லது. ஆனா அந்த கேள்விக்கு உடனே பிளாக் அண்ட் ஒயிட்ல பதில் வரலன்னா இந்த அம்மா பைனான்ஸ் மினிஸ்டர் என்னங்க பண்ணும்? அவங்களை இறக்குங்க முதல்ல. தாராளமா இறக்குறவர் யாரோ, என்ன போட்டவர் யாரோ அவங்க பார்த்துப்பாங்க. ஆனா அந்த கேள்வி அந்த எதிர்பார்ப்புடன் கேட்கறவங்க உட்கார்ந்துகிட்டு சொல்லுங்க எப்படி முடியும் சொல்லுங்க. அதனால நம்ம ஒரு இட்ஸ் வெரி சென்சேஷனல் and very enjoyable when we see it like this. எனக்கே நல்ல சிரிப்பு வருது சில சமயம். இந்த அம்மா என்னங்க ஊறுகாய் போட்டுட்டு இருந்த அம்மா அவங்களை கொண்டு போய் ஃபைனான்ஸ் மினிஸ்டர் பண்ணிட்டாரு. தாராளமா சொல்லுங்க, எனக்கு ஊறுகாய் போடுறதும் தாழ்வு குறைவா இல்லை, மக்களுக்கோசம் சேவை பண்றதும் தாழ்வு குறைவா இல்லை. ஆனா இதுதான் ஒரு மாப் தண்டுமாங்க ஹிந்தியில ஸ்கேல். இது ஒரு அளவு குறி. ஊறுகாய் போட்டவங்க பைனான்ஸ் மினிஸ்டர் போகக்கூடாது அப்படின்னு இருந்தா நான் ஒத்துக்கிறேன். இல்லீங்களே, ஊறுகாய் போடுறவளா இல்லையா அப்படிங்கிற சர்ச்சையை விட்டுட்டு இன்னைக்கு ஜிஎஸ்டியில இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு மாற்றம் எடுத்துட்டு வரதுக்கு நாடு ரெடியா இருக்கான்னு நம்ம பேசினாலே பதில் காட்சி.
Fabulous response. Coming to the next question on GST. GST is aimed at nullifying or mitigating the cascading effect of taxes. That is, taxes on taxes. But still we have a very particular section which deals with the blocked credits, of which the question is only on construction services. Because these construction services are very, very rudimentary and goes to the very brownfield and greenfield projects, as well as hospitality and reality sector. This is rental. Whether this construction services blockage will have a direct impact on the cascading effect, whether there is a possibility that it can be allowed sector-wise. It need not open up for everything, but again, where sector-wise, like when a building is going to come, a factory is going to come, a new hotel is going to come, which is the revenue-making building. Is there a possibility that the blocked credit on the construction services?
Nothing is impossible. You can always give me and put the case forward. I'll certainly have the committees look into it and take it forward. ரிஃபார்ம் பண்றதுக்கு ஒரு காலம், இந்த காலம் தான் பண்ணணும், பண்ணக்கூடாது மீதி நேரத்துல அப்படின்றதுலாம் ஒண்ணு இல்லைங்க. நீங்க ஆர்குமெண்ட்ஸோட கொடுத்தீங்கன்னா டெஃபினட்டா we'll have a open minded look into it.
Madam, the next question is again a very spicy question. In the light of the historical context where income tax was initially introduced during the World War era to meet urgent financial needs and later institutionalized, we would like to understand if there are any future plans for reforming the system. Specifically, is there a possibility of abolishing income tax altogether or restructuring it to focus solely on the elite class? Alternatively, could there be a consideration for integrating direct and indirect taxes into a singular transaction tax system to streamline tax collection?
Well, taxன்றது மனுஷ அட்மினிஸ்ட்ரேஷன் வந்த பிறகுலேருந்து தான் பேசணும். அது இன்னைக்கு இல்லை. It has been from ancient India, ancient countries. It has evolved over the years, over the decades, over the millennia. என்ன விதத்துல அது இவால்வ் பண்ணிட்டே போகும்ன்றது is left to all of us. There is nothing which is closed, nothing which is open. So everything is possible. I'm not saying நாளைக்கே இது மாதிரி நாளைக்கு நெக்ஸ்ட் பட்ஜெட்ல கொடுத்துருவீங்களா அடுத்த கேள்வி வந்துச்சுன்னா சொல்ல முடியாது. So let ideas keep coming, let ideas be worked on.
Madam, again a small personal question. They have asked, what is your favorite book on personal finance and economics? And I'm sure many of us will be interested, what would be your choice of book or a movie which is other than finance and economics? That is a question from many of the people have
Most of the books which I read are non-finance because it helps to keep one's interest going in life.
Wonderful.
I don't get time to watch films, not because I'm finance minister, but from childhood I've never been very keen on watching films. But I do watch a lot of animated films. They're superb. And recently I have even tweeted about it. One Japanese producer has been given Magsaysay Award for being one of the best animators in producing films. They are, if anything, very entertaining and very, very emotive. Normal human beings oda edukra films oda the animated films are beyond belief. The perfection in the art, the drawing, the bringing in life into each one of those characters, and they are normally available in, you know, Netflix-like places. They're not. Sometimes they do come into films, theaters, but உதாரணத்துக்கு சொல்றேன், Japan 1980s Japan is a leader in animation. 1980s ராமாயணத்தை அனிமேட்டடா போட்டிருந்தாங்க. Unbelievable. Initially எல்லாரும் நினைச்சோம் இது ரொம்ப குழந்தைங்களுக்கோசம் பண்ணிருக்காங்க, அதனால இட்ஸ் ஃபைன், குழந்தைங்க பார்க்கட்டும். ராமாயணத்தை அனிமேட்டட். ரீசென்ட்லி நான் வரவழைச்சு அதை பார்த்தேன். அன்பிலீவபிள். எனக்கு அப்ப தோணுச்சு, நம்ம நாட்டுல ஏங்க பிலிம் இண்டஸ்ட்ரி இவ்வளவு நல்லா வளர்ந்துருக்கு, டாக்குமெண்ட்ரி பிலிம்ஸ் தயார் பண்றதும் நமக்கு இருக்கு, ஆனா நம்ம நாட்டுல அனிமேஷனுக்கு பிளேஸே இல்லாம போயிடுச்சு. ராமாயணத்தை ஜப்பான் இந்த பியூட்டிஃபுல் அனிமேஷன் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. And not just Ramayana, there are many other themes on which they come up with animation films. I request each one of you all, எப்போது ஒரு தரமான ஒரு animated film பாருங்க, which is produced in, you know, Japan for instance. They are leaders, and it is such a, you get up as a better person after seeing it. It really is so beautiful.
I'm coming to the last one or two questions. As a representative of an esteemed taxpayer who is 101 years old and has consistently filed income tax returns punctually, I would like to inquire about a potential future considerations for individuals of such advanced age. Given the government's respect and recognition for senior citizens, is it possible of introducing a special tax exemption or relief for centenarians to honor their contribution and status? Maybe Purna Shaya exemption is there. That is the question.
Well, we've done something for the senior citizens in the last two budgets. It's all right. You can always pass this suggestion to suggestion.
Now, coming to that. Madam, what is your perspective on cryptocurrency? It's a very vital question. Do you view it as an inevitable development that India may need to embrace in the future, or as a potential threat that the country should work to distance itself from? Your insights on how India plans.
Well, the technology based on which is crypto, India is very much open to it. Government is very much open to it. So the technology we are in favor of. We have no, you know, compunctions to say we will be supportive of the technology. But on crypto, you know, we have taken this matter even to the global fora through the G20. And G20 மூலமா ஒரு குளோபல் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் வந்த பிறகுதான் அதை இம்ப்ளிமெண்ட் பண்ண போறோம். ஏதோ ஒரு கண்ட்ரி மாத்திரம் அவங்க கண்ட்ரியில கிரிப்டோவை ரெகுலேட் பண்ணா மாத்திரம் முடியாது. ஏன்னா டெக்னாலஜி பீயிங் வாட் இட் இஸ், இங்க ரெகுலேட் பண்ணா வேற இடத்துல இருந்து அவங்க இங்க ஆப்ரேட் பண்ணுவாங்கன்றது நமக்கு தெரியும். அதை எப்படி பண்ணணும், குளோபல் ஃப்ரேம் ஒர்க் ஒன்று இருக்கணும். அப்படிங்கிறதுனால G20 அதை எடுத்துட்டு போனோம். நல்ல ப்ரோக்ரஸ் இருக்கு. பிரேசில் பிரசிடென்சி இப்ப நடந்துட்டு இருக்கு, அங்கேயும் அதை பத்தி டிஸ்கஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க. So hopefully we'll have a global understanding on how to regulate cryptocurrency. But in the meanwhile, you also know around 3 or 4 budgets before, we had brought in a kind of a TCS, I think, on that transaction which happens between platforms or platform and the individual who wants to go and trade in cryptocurrency. Only because we wanted to be sure that cryptocurrency மூலமா money trail எங்களுக்கு தெரியணும். So that அது வெறும் கரன்சி எக்ஸ்சேஞ்சுக்காக யூஸ் பண்றவங்க சில பேர் இருந்தா அதன் மூலமா டெரர் ஃபண்டிங்கோ அதன் மூலமா ட்ரக் ஃபண்டிங்கோ ஆகக்கூடாதுன்றதுனால we've imposed a TCS so that we know who's involved in it. அது நடந்துட்டு இருக்கு. இன்ஃபேக்ட் I remember இந்த G20 அதை பத்தி நல்லா சொன்னாங்க. ரெகுலேஷன் கோசம் வெயிட் பண்ணாம நீங்க you have taken a measure which is towards tracking money which is coming into this domain, because this may lead to drug financing or drug peddling or even into trafficking and also terror efforts. So அந்த ஸ்டெப்புக்கு நிறைய வரவேற்பு இருந்துச்சு. FATF, Financial Action for Terror Funding, அதை பத்தி எடுக்கும்போது கூட இந்தியாவோட அப்ரைசல் நடந்த போது that we have taken this step has been appreciated. Other than that, central bank driven digital currency மேல RBI is working and doing a lot of work, particularly in the wholesale area, not so much for retail, but the pilot is happening in both wholesale and retail.
Thank you. And finally, there's a very intense scene in a movie called Padmavat. In that scene, the Rajaguru will be asking the queen, Rajput queen, what is the greatest gift in life? And she will answer, Ashirwad. Today when I started for this event, I told my mom that I am going to meet our finance minister. And she asked me, she is very, very fond of you. And I asked her whether anything to be conveyed to you. She said that, allow me to say in a local vernacular because she said it to me in Tamil. நீண்ட ஆயுளோடையும் நிறைஞ்ச சந்தோஷத்தோடையும் பகவான் அனுகிரகத்தோட நீடூழி வாழணும்னு ஆசீர்வாதம் பண்ணேன்னு சொல்லு அப்படின்னு she told me. Madam, like my mother, there are millions out there. God bless you. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you all. That was a very informative question and answer session. Advocate T. Vasudevan, Secretary of the Revenue Bar Association, will now render the vote of thanks.
As Secretary of the Revenue Bar Association, I stand before this august audience to present the vote of thanks. In the annals of the RBA, 5th September 2024 will be marked as a momentous day. The RBA wholeheartedly thanks the Honorable Union Minister of Finance and Corporate Affairs for accepting our invitation and being here to deliver the speech on the Finance Minister's insights, the path forward. Despite the demanding schedule, Honorable Finance Minister was kind enough to accept our request for the RBA event. In her speech, Honorable Finance Minister had envisioned the path forward to achieve Viksit Bharat in the years to come. Honorable Finance Minister had laid emphasis on the disciplined economic approach as a path forward. Honorable Finance Minister emphasized on the ease of compliances to the taxpayer, and Government of India's approach is oriented towards this important aspect. Madam laid stress on the respect attached to the federal structure for achieving the goal of Viksit Bharat. Madam FM had explained the transparency of GST system and is available for the public at large in the public domain. Madam FM stated in the direct tax area, the widening of tax base is being achieved by way of ease of compliances, and large success has been achieved in this respect. The Government of India is also taking steps for reducing litigation through Vivad Se Vishwas scheme and by simplification of direct tax laws. RBA is committed to give its suggestions on the new direct tax code, and that is being in the active consideration of the Government of India. Respected Honorable Finance Minister, even though it was a great opportunity for the members of RBA and all the guests assembled here to listen to the path forward or policy vision of the Government of India to make our Bharat a resilient and robust world economic power. Madam, we fall short of words to express our heartfelt gratitude for being in our midst and making this a memorable event. Honorable Finance Minister, the Revenue Bar Association over the last 6 decades has been a dependable professional body of tax advocates. Your lofty presence here today marks a great chapter for the RBA. The Revenue Bar Association is most thankful for your delightful presence and for delivering the address on the topic of the day. I also need to make a mention of the question and answer session. Madam, it was exciting to listen to the great and kind response to each of the questions from you. I also take this opportunity to give a wholehearted thanks to Sri K.T. Raghavan, Advocate. He has been instrumental in enabling the conduct of the event in the best possible manner. His rich experience is a key driving force in organizing and in the conduct of the event in a short span of time. Thank you, sir. I thank Sri H. Raja, ex-MLA, BJP National Executive Committee member and convener, Tamil Nadu BJP, for accepting our invitation and being in our midst to attend the program. It's also to be mentioned that Sri Raja is a chartered accountant and a law graduate, and so a fraternity member amongst us. We are grateful to have Sri S. Raja for the program. I also take this opportunity to thank the Principal Chief Commissioner of Income Tax, Principal Chief Commissioner of GST, and Principal Chief Commissioner of Customs, and each one of the commissioners from the Income Tax Department, and also the commissioners from the Central Excise Department for accepting our invitation, attending the event. I also thank Mr. S. Sridhar, Advocate and President of Revenue Bar Association, for his untiring and commendable work, letting the committee members to perform their assigned roles to perfection, successful conduct of the program. Mr. T. Banu Shekhar, Advocate, as Chairman of the Organizing Committee, deserves a thanks for his seamless coordination and direction for the conduct of the event. Finally, I thank each one of the dignitaries, members of professional bodies, and guests who had accepted our invitation and participated in the program today. To conclude, Honorable Finance Minister, your presence and the speech on the topic path forward are immensely beneficial to the audience here as well as the... Thank you, ma'am.
I now request everyone to rise and join in the singing of the national anthem.
जनगणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तब शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
I kindly request the Honorable Chief Guest, registered delegates and devotees to join us for lunch.